Hi, this is Les-Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. Timing is everything. On the same day Maurkice-Pouncey had a game unsuspended, Larry-Ogunjobi of the Browns stayed the same, and despite a public apology, Mason-Rudolph, quarterback for the Steelers, got absolutely nothing. Of course, Myles-Garrett got nothing lopped off his sentence either. If the NFL want to send a message, consider it done. Now it's time for the Browns players to suck it up. A 20-point win over the Dolphins on Sunday would send out a nice message, too. And that would be directed at Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, as well as Arizona and Baltimore, the teams they still have to play. Myles-Garrett's not walking through that door, and it's now time for the remaining 52 who will remind them that they've got a job to do. We've got a job to do tonight. It's Paul Hoynes. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Thursday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine in its 24th consecutive year, and as always, seen exclusively right here on cleveland.com. Paul Hoynes is supposed to be here. He will be here. We tracked him down. Traffic situation on the way to the studio, but he shouldn't be too much longer. And, hey, you only want him for the last 5-6 minutes of the show anyway, right? Paul Hoynes will be here for that rant, among other things. We'll talk some baseball. Maybe a few of you are a little tired of talking about Myles-Garrett, who didn't get anything changed on his sentence, on his penalty by Roger Goodell after that meeting yesterday in New York City. So Myles-Garrett's suspension upheld. That's 6 games plus an indefinite amount next year, and who knows when that'll happen. Maurkice-Pouncey is reduced from 3 games to 2. The lineman for Pittsburgh, and Mason-Rudolph got nothing. Myles-Garrett accuses Mason-Rudolph of using a racial slur. I don't know that he did or he didn't. I would find it strange, considering the fact that there were 3 Pittsburgh-Steelers guys right around that action area, and I'd be surprised if he did. But again, I wasn't there and I didn't hear it, and nobody else has backed it up or not backed it up. But that's what the claim is by Myles-Garrett. I'm surprised that they didn't just take off the indefinite wording and just give him the 6 games and go from right there. The other thing, I was talking with a friend, and he said, you know, if out of frustration, if he just took that helmet and threw it into the end zone, didn't hit anybody, we wouldn't be talking about anything. Maybe a 1-game suspension, maybe, but certainly not this, certainly not as costly as it is going to be for Myles-Garrett. And who knows, if they don't put him back in, reinstate him next year, you're talking about a year and a half out of football. I don't know how you recover from that financially or physically. 216-575-0403. As long as Hoynes not here, I've got to just fill some time, so why don't we do it with some phone calls? We will do that. We'll also respond to a couple of questions. Tim from Canton is making sure he's the guy who catches mistakes, and we have plenty of them. And he said, you know, we were talking about Mark Gastineau the other night, and Gastineau with the roughing the passer penalty on Bernie Kosar, and it put the Browns back in. They won that game over the Jets in double overtime. Tim says, Les, you said the Browns were trailing by 2 touchdowns against the Jets in the double overtime playoff game. The Browns actually were down by a touchdown and a field goal, 20-10. No, I didn't look it up. All right, stop showing off. You knew it by yourself. That's exactly what happened. Tim, you are absolutely correct. And don't feel intimidated if you want to catch a mistake that I made. Also, don't feel that we'll ever take a phone call from you. Just kidding. Just kidding. This one, I should probably wait for Hoynesy, but I won't. That is Les and Paul. How do you feel about the Veterans Committee electing players, we're talking baseball, to the Hall of Fame who have not received enough votes from the BBWAA? For example, I never considered Alan Trammell to be a Hall of Famer during his career. His highest vote total was only 36% from the baseball writers, far short of the 75 required for election. Yet the Veterans Committee elected him anyway. Doesn't that cheapen the Hall of Fame? Well, let's just take a look at that. I agree. Alan Trammell was a good shortstop and played a lot of years. Smart player, teamed up a great shortstop, second baseman combination, played together forever. But you put him up against Omar Vizquel offensively and defensively, it's not even close. So you're going to tell me that Alan Trammell gets in, which he did, based on the senior vote, and the most he ever got was, as he points out, 36% when he just became eligible. That's a joke. If he makes it, and if Omar Vizquel doesn't make it in the next couple of years, that's an absolute joke. So, but they apparently don't care. They put in, when Hoynes gets here, we'll talk about it, but they put in a ton of players here with the new rules and the new way of voting and the amount of votes that they need. Omar Vizquel around 42%, I believe. We'll show that a little bit later. But in answer to the question, no, it is not fair. I understand why they did it. It's just not right. Guy gets 32% for the most that he got while he was being voted on, as all of them have been done. That would be by the Baseball Writers of America. And then he goes to the senior committee, and there you go. So we'll talk more about that with Hoynes when he gets here, which should be momentarily. In fact, we'll take a look at the 2020 Hall of Fame ballot when we get back. Good. What's that? Yeah, I'm on it. We got a voicemail of Truth and Reason, which we can use. Let's listen in right now from Ron.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Hey, Les, I believe Cleveland fans are becoming fickle. We like the aggressive play, but do not like the penalties, so we blame Freddie Kitchens. I think the blame goes to the change in football to a passing game started in high school, college, and pros. So defensive players have become lazy and hit high instead of doing the old way of low tackling technique that was taught all the time. So don't blame Freddie for allowing the players making penalties, but blame him for not forcing them to use the correct technique with aggressiveness, and everything will be fine.
Hi, Ron. Thank you very much. You know, Greg Williams has said right from the beginning that some of the Browns players, even the high draft picks, really had bad technique and could lead to injuries, and that's exactly what happened a couple of times last year. 216-575-0403 is the number to call if you'd like to get in. Hoynes will join us momentarily. We'll talk some baseball. He, of course, used to cover the Browns also back in the 80s. I think that's when he started doing that. So we'll take a break, and we'll come on back. Hoynes has entered the building. I don't know, we're starting to get habit forming. He's come late a couple of times. He's going to have to have a note from his mother, Mrs. Epstein. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. There are over 238,000 winners on Ohio Scratch-Off every day. With the amount of winning, stop by your local retailer and try your luck on any of the popular holiday-themed scratch-offs from the Ohio Lottery. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. Hoynes joins us when we get back. More Sports and Les Levine is Phoenix. Hey, Hoynes joined us right now. How did magically you appeared? More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today, Stan Musial, 1920, and Ken Griffey Jr., seen on the left. Both from, isn't that amazing? Both from Donora, Pennsylvania.
That's pretty cool.
It is amazing. Yeah. It is amazing. Earl the Pearl Monroe, Robin Banks, 1947, Troy Aikman. This is a good day. So look at all the Hall of Famers. Michael Strahan. I think if Michael Strahan had, if his teeth were regular, do you think he still would have been a Hall of Famer?
I
think
so,
he'd be a
yeah.
TV star also? Look at the Hall of Famers. Musial,
Yeah.
Earl the Pearl, Troy Aikman, Griffey, and Strahan.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Wow.
A lot of talent.
Griffey was about to be the face of baseball, right?
Yeah.
And did a good job, but what was it? Because he was at Seattle and
I think, yeah, he was with Seattle, but he was still, I mean, I don't think I ever saw an Indians player hit a ball over his head in center field.
Yeah, but I think of him with the sweetest swing I've ever seen.
Yeah, great swing. And he went to Cincinnati and kind of got hurt. You know, he kind of tailed off there.
And that would have been a great story, too, because that was his hometown.
Right.
And, all right, so let's get to it. In the first segment, I took an email from somebody who says he doesn't think it's fair that the way Alan Trammell got into the Hall of Fame, with 30, I think he said 36% was the most votes he got when you guys were able to vote.
Right.
And Omar Vizquel sitting at 42, I think, and he may not make it. And yet, you put the two together, Trammell, who's a good player, but not Omar Vizquel.
Yeah, you know, Trammell was probably a better hitter. You know, he went to the World Series, won a World Series. But, you know, I think defensively, you know, Omar has the edge. But, you know, Trammell was on it for 15 years and didn't get in. And, you know.
Did he ever have higher than what he had at the end?
No, he never. You know, and Omar has gone from 38 to 42% in 2 years. I think he's on a great path.
That is a good path?
Yeah, definitely.
And this year, you don't have a great ballot box.
Yeah.
You got a couple of the PED guys, but they're not going to have huge numbers, are they?
No, I mean, it's you know, compared to the other, you know, I think the BBWA has voted in like 20 players over the last 6 years, and that's amazing. You know, that's a huge number. And
any that don't belong?
I don't think so. I think they were all pretty good picks. I mean, Harold. Well, we didn't vote Baines in. That was a Veterans Committee, but the BBWA, I think, all made pretty good picks. There were, you know, great players too. You know, but this ballot, like you said, is kind of short to me. I always vote for 10 guys, and you know, I was looking at it, and I could name 6. You know, I've got 6, and maybe, you know, that's stretching it. I don't vote for the PED guys.
I've only been to one Hall of Fame induction. It was when Hal Lebovitz was put in the writer's wing, Ford Frick writer's wing. And I think that Carlton Fisk just finished his speech just 5-10 minutes ago.
Yeah, oh my, yeah, they want you to keep it like to 6 minutes or whatever it is. But those players, they just let them go. You know, I mean,
why not?
Yeah,
why not? 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, let's take a look at the new nominees for the 2020 season. You got a whole bunch, some that have no reason to be there, but because it's 5 years, it's 5 years.
Yeah.
So who belongs out of this? Not necessarily who belongs in the Hall of Fame, but who's going to get on to the next year? What do you need to get to the next year?
You need 5% to get on the next year.
Will Bobby Abreu get 5%?
He may. You know, he had a pretty good career. I don't think he's not a Hall of Famer, but you know, when a guy like Kenny Lofton drops off after 1 year, he doesn't get 5% of the vote. Anything can happen on
Kenny
this
can still get in on that same veterans vote you're talking about, right? How many years does that take to wait?
Well, I think he was eligible once. You know, Albert Bell has been on it twice and hasn't gotten in, and I think Kenny was on it once.
All right, if Paul Konerko only played against the Indians, he would be a Hall of Famer.
And he's got great numbers. He really does.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The guy that's impressive to me is Soriano. You know, 40-40 guy.
Right.
Played shortstop in the outfield. I mean, second base in the outfield.
I'll tell you what, I don't. You say
we
the
didn't
names,
see him much.
And you say that name, I say that can't be a 40-40 guy.
Yeah, that was a 40. He was 40-40. He could do a lot of stuff. I remember the Indians brought him in for a workout before he even signed. I think he signed with the Yankees originally. The Indians had him in for a workout at Progressive Field. They didn't sign him, but you know, you could tell.
Could they have hit him somewhere until Could they have hit him somewhere
Yeah,
so he
maybe
couldn't
they
get
should have
away?
hit him. Exactly, right.
All right, how about our old friend Jason Giambi, who hit one of the most dramatic home runs in
Yeah,
recent history?
if Giambi wasn't a PED guy, I'd vote for him. You know, I mean, he's got that working against him for me. You know, but who knows? I mean,
Derek Jeter, does he have a chance to make the Hall of Fame someday?
yeah, I think Derek probably will follow Mariano Rivera's.
Rivera. Yeah.
All
right, here's an interesting one. Cliff Lee, and there's numbers to back this up, and here it is right now. He's a four-time All-Star, won the Cy Young with the Indians in 2008, 22-3 record that year, and how about his major league career?
Yeah, I mean, he was 7-3 in the postseason in his career.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I would have liked to seen him pitch a little longer. I think, he got hurt at the end. His last year he was 35. But, his numbers, it's hard to argue with his numbers.
If he makes it, is he going as an Indian? I mean, that's where he had his big years.
Yeah, he would have to go in.
Was there
as an Indian.
other than the
the
not
Phillies?
meeting the,
he bounced around. He went to Phillies, Texas, Seattle. He was all over the place.
Right. Obviously, he took more money to go to Philly, but was there bad blood between the two?
With the Indians? I don't think it wasn't a great relationship. They traded him with a year left, and and Carrasco came out of that deal. That was the only he was the only really plus player that came out of that trade for the Indians.
All right, let's take a look at the 2020 Hall of Fame ballot and see who's. We're going to look at the returning nominees. You got Barry Bonds. What do you think?
I was looking at his stats the other day, and they just blow you away. But I can't vote for the guy. I just think he cheated. I mean, I can't vote for him. I mean, other people, him and Clemens, I feel the same way about, but they're both around, 55 to 60% of the vote.
Sound like they'll make it in a few years?
They've got 2 years left, so they could make it. But if they don't make it,
2 years is tough.
Yeah, if they don't make it, I think they're going to have a heck of a time getting in through the Veterans Committee because the Hall of Famers won't vote for him.
Todd Helton, we didn't see much of him.
Yeah, and great numbers. Played in Colorado, so he's got that working against him. But he's a borderline guy.
Jeff Kent, second baseman, played with the Indians, made the last out of the ALCS, right?
Yeah, I vote for Kent, the all-time leader in home runs among second basemen.
Right.
I think he was an MVP when he went to the Giants. Pretty good player,
Manny Ramirez.
Manny breaks my heart. I can't vote for him.
Because he didn't have to do that, right?
Yeah, he was and he got caught. We're going on conjecture with Clemens and Bonds, and guys like Pettit. But he got caught twice.
Yeah, right.
He probably could have caught
just to make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about Kurt Schilling? Does he get credit for putting a red magic marker on his sock?
Yeah, I'm voting for Schilling.
Are you?
Yeah, I like Schilling. Lots of people, his off-the-field comments and stuff, but that doesn't bother me too much.
You're talking about the political stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, he claims that's keeping him back.
Yeah.
How about Sammy Sosa? Same thing?
Same thing.
Billy Wagner?
Billy Wagner, I'm voting for. I looked at his numbers. He's surprising. He's he's got over 400 saves.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he's very. I like him.
All right, there you see Roger Clemens. Same thing you talked about before. Andrew Jones, who got off to a great start.
Yeah.
World Series hero, and I think he was 19 at the time.
Oh my God! And what? 10 Gold Gloves, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got a bunch of Gold Gloves. Could play the heck out of center field. His career kind of tailed off. He's a guy that I always want to look at a little more. I look at the stats a little more on him.
Andy Pettit.
I like Pettit. The one time he admitted taking steroids, I don't know, but he always, he always.
Figured he was going to get caught eventually.
Yeah, he was, he was so steady for those Yankee teams. They could rely on him, and pitched well in the postseason for me, I thought.
Scott Rowland from Jasper, Indiana. He played with the Cards, the Reds, who else?
Yeah, Cards, Reds, yeah, and who else?
That's
Cincinnati.
Well, that would be the Reds.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Unless they change their names.
I'd probably vote for Rowland.
I think Phillies was the other team. How about Gary Sheffield? I'll tell you why I wouldn't vote if I voted. he admitted that he made errors on purpose early on. You remember that?
Yeah, and when he was playing for Milwaukee.
Yeah, he wanted to get out so he'd overthrow first base on purpose. The dumb thing is he admitted it.
Yeah. And he was running with Bonds and the steroids. So, he's you look at his numbers. He's got over 500 home runs.
Yeah.
Great numbers. I have a tough
Omar
time.
won't get in this year. Will he eventually get in?
I think he gets in. I really do.
Be a shame if he doesn't.
He's kind of one of those guys that kind of splits the ballot. Because a lot of people say he got his numbers by longevity.
So what?
And that's what I say. I mean, they don't give jobs away in the big leagues to you when you're 40 years old.
Yeah, not because they like you.
Yeah.
Also, he played in the National League, won 3 Golden Gloves there.
Yeah. I mean, defensively, he's a Hall of Famer. People will hold the length of his career against him. Some voters will, and I've never understood that.
Facebook question of the day. Let's take a look at it. There you go. Should Omar Vizquel be a Hall of Famer? Glenn Berger says yes, by all means. He was an elite shortstop, the best in his time. Good offensive player, batting second in the order for a strong offensive team in the 90s. He's the Ozzie Smith. If Ozzie Smith is a Hall of Famer, Omar should be one too. I mean, it's an obvious comparison, Ozzie and
Yeah.
Omar.
And played in different eras, but definitely it's a good comparison.
And when Omar came along, he played through the power hitting shortstops.
Right.
The game changed at that point.
And both of them, they weren't doing shifts then. So shortstop was a real shortstop then.
Yeah, exactly.
He was playing, the whole territory between second and third.
Ed Watkins says, as good as Ozzie was with the glove, but higher career batting average. Sadly, I think defense alone won't get you to the Hall in this era. Dan Macy, yes, and he should go in with Chief Wahoo. All right, that's the Hall of Famer. Andy Mees, yes, 9 consecutive Gold Gloves and 11 in an era that featured Jeter, A-Rod, and Nomar Garciaparra. Says he was a Hall of Fame caliber defender at short. The writers can't overlook that much longer, can they? Well, yeah, I guess they could. Yeah. Dennis David, do you ever get into a discussion with your cohorts about players?
Sometimes, yeah.
Try to send them to go your way and vice versa?
Yeah, you argue, you talk about them. You usually don't. We're not having fist fights over it, though.
You're not throwing helmets at them.
No.
Dennis Davis should have been voted in on the first ballot. He changed the game with his defense. No easy feat. There you have it. Northeast Factory Direct, no easy feat to beat their prices. 3 great stores, east, west, and also to the south. South, of course, the new one in Macedonia. All they're going to do is save you money. How do they do it? With the same items you're going to find in a big box store? Well, that's easy. They spend about 1/10 what the big box stores pay for rent, and they pass the savings directly on to you. And never heard one complaint about Northeast Factory Direct. Also, check them out at northeastfactorydirect.com. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. That's, of course, post time is 6 p.m. on that. Post time is 6:40 on Saturdays and Sundays. And, of course, you can win $500 in the handicapping seminars that they've got going on Sundays. And that's at Northfield Park, where it's free admission, free parking every day. Wednesday, we're going to update the 40-man roster. You'll explain what it means when we get back. More sports and less. Wait a minute, hold on. While you were in a traffic jam, did you come up with a rant?
I think I've got one. Yeah.
Is that why you were late?
Yeah, no, I wasn't that. That's not why.
Dear Mr. Levine, please excuse Hoynes for being late. Signed, Mrs. Epstein's mother.
That's right.
Back in a moment. More sports and less Levine continues on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of November and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
National Holidays expert Mary here with a list of holidays you won't want to miss. Get your Ohio Lottery Merry Million scratch-offs for National Donut Day, National Have a Party with Your Bear Day, Pickle Day, National Unique Talent Day, Take a Hike Day, and America's favorite, National Jukebox Day. Every day is a reason to celebrate. Grab a Merry Millions and other Ohio Lottery holiday scratch-offs today.
There are tastes we remember. every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
All right, time for a How Come Quickie, Hoynesy. How come after Steeler fans saw Mason-Rudolph play a couple of games, they were hoping Roger Goodell would suspend him for 3 or 4 games?
If he gets beat up like that again, he'll take the suspension.
Let me out of here. Let me out. What do you make of the whole thing? Today, myles-garrett, they didn't change it. I'm surprised. I thought they were going to take off the word indefinite. But he gets the remaining 6 games and an indefinite amount next year. Could be 0, could be 12, could be 16.
Yeah.
I said before, if he just took the helmet and threw it into the end zone, he'd have been fine.
Yeah.
Probably a slap on the wrist and that's it.
Yeah, I
but
mean,
you can't
excuse
justify
it.
it. No,
he took the guy's helmet off and hit him on the head with it.
Well, how about the guy going back into the fray?
Yeah, right.
There's a helmet flying around. Was he going to get his helmet?
Yeah.
Did you see Saturday Night Live?
No.
They got a guy in the Garrett uniform, that disgusting brown, orange, whatever that color is. For us, I'm colorblind and I'm offended by those colors. They say the guy just didn't have his helmet. They were helping him put it back on. I mean, I don't mean to make fun of it because it could have been terrible.
He could have got hurt, and I mean, they don't even do that in the NHL. I mean, you don't hit people.
No, you lift the stick, you're
That's
done.
right.
All right, let's take a look at the Indians. 40. No, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to apologize. Nothing meant by that, and the fact that Rudolph is okay. Thank goodness, because it could have had a real bad ending. Indians 40-man roster. Nick Goody dropped off that, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean to him? Is he done?
Well, he's they designated him for assignment, so they've got like 8 days to trade him, put him on waivers, or just release him.
What do you think will happen?
I think they'll try. I think he'll pass. I think they would like to trade him, but he's out of options. So I would imagine he goes through waivers.
If somebody wants him, they want him.
Yeah, but it's tough to take the guy if he doesn't have options because you got to put. He's got to make the club then.
All right. Before we get into the 40-man roster, you were telling me there was some news coming out of where's the owners meeting?
In Arlington, Texas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the news involving the Indians?
Well, John Sherman, the minority owner since 2016, he has purchased, him and his group have purchased the Royals, Kansas City Royals, and that purchase was approved. Only at $1 billion. So, but, he has his shares in the Indians have been put in a trust. And when Sherman finds a buyer for that, then, he'll be able to sell that. And, I guess, or maybe, this is unclear. I don't know if Paul Dolan has the right maybe to buy those shares back. And it was also reported by the Kansas City Star. They quoted Major League Commissioner Rob Manfred as saying when Sherman originally came in to the bought in with the Indians, it was with the idea of he would eventually buy the club or become the controlling partner of the club.
May not be news to you. That's news to me.
Yeah, that's news to me,
too. It is news to you also.
I did not know that.
We just assumed he was going to do the Jimmy Haslam thing that he did in Pittsburgh, just kind of hang around and see what goes on and in the meetings and all that stuff. But eventually he's going to be elevated.
That's
to be
what
owner.
the commissioner said. The Indians wouldn't comment on it.
Is there a story here that we don't know about?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was always under the impression that the Dolans, one way or the other, wanted to keep it in the family. I don't know if they were a minority partner or they wanted controlling interests. So, but we'll see. Eventually, it'll come out.
Never a dull moment for Paul Hoynes covering the Tribe.
No.
I think that's big news.
It is big news, yeah.
All right, so let's look at the starting pitchers on the 40-man roster. See what we got going here. Kluber and Clevenger, those guys are for sure. Carrasco on the top right, he is for sure. What else do you have here?
Yeah, well, of course we got to, Carrasco, we got to see how he's doing health-wise. Kluber, Clevenger, Bieber, probably, Plesac. I would think Plesac and maybe Savali or Plutko. I think there's a competition for the 4th and 5th spot. McKenzie, isn't ready. I mean, he hasn't pitched in 2 years or pitched limitless.
Is there a reason they have to put him on the 40-man roster?
Yeah, he's he is eligible. If they don't, they could lose him in the Rule 5 draft because he's eligible for the Rule 5.
He's the one who's like 6'9", 112 pounds.
Yeah, 6'5" and 165 to 170
no,
pounds.
He isn't.
Yeah, he is.
No,
yeah,
not the guy I saw.
So,
all right, relievers. By the way, and we'll talk about this because you mentioned it the other day. Terry-Francona cannot be happy with the new rule concerning relievers. Let's take a look at the relievers, see what they've got going here on the 40-man roster. Logan Allen, what do we know about him?
He's one of the guys that came over from San Diego in the Bauer deal, and he's a left-hander. I think he's more of a starter than a reliever, and they need left-handed starters.
Well, they need a left-handed reliever, sort of like the old Brad Hand, not like the new Brad Hand.
Right, yeah. We'll see. Maybe an off-season arrest will help him.
Of rest or arrest?
Of rest.
James Hoyt. We saw him a little bit at the end.
Yeah, he's a veteran guy. He was hurt a lot 2 years ago. Elbow, knee surgery. He's pitching in winter ball now. He knows how to pitch, veteran guy.
All right, Phil, I don't worry about pronouncing names until they show me they can make the team.
Yeah, Phil Mayton. Yeah, he pitched, he pitched quite a bit, in September for the Tribe. They got him from San Diego. Real good stuff, ball moves all over, but some control issues.
All right, Oliver Perez, who pitched every game last year, 162
Oliver,
games.
And it's going to be interesting to see this 3-batter rule, how he handles that.
Yeah, he was used as a 1-batter guy for the most part. All right, so here's the problem. You got Perez has a question mark, Hunter Wood and Adam Simber. To me, with that motion, you would think Simber could get guys out easily, but he doesn't.
Yeah, well, Simber led the team in appearances. Was second led the team in appearances and was second, I think, among relievers in innings pitched. So they pitched him a lot. But he's a guy like Perez that, he's suited for getting right-handers out, but left-handers hit like 290 against him. So, he's a guy that's going to have to bridge the gap there and make this new rule work for him.
Let's look at the Indians, infielders rather, and the catchers, see what's going on there. 40-man roster infielders and catchers, Christian Arroyo. Some of these names nobody's ever heard of.
Yeah, Arroyo they got him from Tampa during the season, had an arm injury, didn't play at all. Former #1 pick of the Giants. He could maybe get a shot at second base.
Still don't know what they want to do between second and third with Ramirez?
Yeah, I think, people have told me that they'd like Ramirez to play second. That way they can leave third base open for Nolan Jones. But Jones is probably 2 years away, so a lot can change.
Yu Chang, we saw a little bit of him at the end of the year.
Yeah.
It showed some stuff.
He looked much more comfortable when he came up to the big leagues this year. He can play third, second, short. Short is probably his best spot. He's got some power. He's a big kid, but he just there's a lot of swing and miss too.
Will Francisco-Lindor make the squad?
I think Francisco, if he's here, he's going to make the team.
Carlos Santana, go another year with him, right?
Yes, definitely.
And Haas, will he be the backup again?
Well, that's a good question.
Or he was the third guy.
Yeah, he's the third guy. I think he's still got an option. I think he has one option left, so he might be down in Columbus again. It depends. I think Plawecki did a decent job, so they'll probably stick with Perez and Plawecki.
All right, Bobby Bradley and Freeman and Ramirez, Vasquez, and also Roberto Perez rounding out the 40-man roster. Let's look at the outfielders, see what we have. Nothing that jumps out at you power-wise, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Daniel Johnson, Jake Bowers, Oscar Mercado, Franmil Reyes, well, there's the power guy.
Yeah.
Greg Allen, Jordan Luplow, Tyler Naquin, and who knows about Bradley Zimmer.
Yeah. You know, Naquin's coming off ACL, so he's not going to be ready. Zimmer, you know, they wanted him to play winter ball. He chose to go home. You know, Daniel Johnson is an interesting guy. He had a great spring, had a great year at AA and AAA. He's playing winter ball right now. He's one of the guys they got in the Gomes deal. Left-handed hitter. He can run. He's got some extra base power. You know, he's a guy to watch.
MLB.com took a look at all the prospects for all the teams, and they set up the top 10 list. Let's take a look at the top 10 list. Nolan Jones, you mentioned, is the third base prospect. Tristan McKenzie, number 2. Tyler Freeman, and so on. Bo Naylor, tell me about him.
Catcher, number 1 pick 2 years ago, maybe last year. Number 1 pick. His brothers, you know, I think with the San Diego. He had a great year at A-ball for Lake County. He can very athletic catcher, but he's a hitter first. He could play a little third base, but he's a guy, you know, a high school kid out of Canada, and really top guy, top prospect.
What do they have in Canada? Is that a 2-game season?
Yeah, but he toured all over. You know, yeah, he played just outside of Toronto.
All right. But look how far Bobby Bradley is sunk, I guess.
Yeah,
Number
I mean,
7.
You saw him, Les. I mean,
yeah.
He's got some pop, but it hasn't translated to the big leagues yet, and he swings and misses a lot.
All right, Paul Hoynes is with us. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Still have How Come Quickies to get to, and Hoynes has got a rant, he tells me. I don't know, until he proves it. He had a beauty the other night when I wasn't here, and you forgot Baker Mayfield's name. It happens all the time. Is there a guy that you've stuck on that you just know you're going to mess up or forget him for a while?
Oh, my God.
Over the years?
I've written guys' names. There was a guy that played for the Indians, Julio Lugo.
Yeah.
He was a pitcher. I kept calling him Lugo Julio. You know, I would screw that name up.
No, that's how they had it in the phone book.
That's right. And there's like, you know,
you know you're going to mess it up.
Yeah, there's a writer named David Justice for MLB.com.
Right, not the hitter.
Yeah, and I had Richard Justice playing right field for the Braves in the postseason once instead of David Justice. So
my first year in broadcasting, I'm doing a high school basketball game, and I get to I got lost. It was the middle of Indiana, and I got lost, and I got there just in time, set up the equipment and everything. The game goes into triple overtime. And I got Joe Smith scoring 35 points, including 8 in triple overtime. And I read the paper the next day, and it goes, Fred Jones scores 38 or 35 35, including 8 in double overtime.
Oh, God.
I was close.
You were close.
What can they do? Nobody's there listening to the game in a high school gym to tell me, hey, you're an idiot. You got the wrong guy scoring all those points. Tri-C. I should have gone to Tri-C instead. Explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the path to a bright future. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses in over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information. We'll come on back in a moment. We'll take a look at some of the rule changes and maybe some they should make. Paul Hoynes with us. Hoynesy, coming up when we get back. More Sports and Les-levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
All right, this date in sports history, what a great date this was, Hoynes. November 21st, 2008. Michigan ends its worst season ever in football, 129 years. They finished 3-8, 42-7 pounding by Jim Tressel and his Buckeyes that day. Rich Rod coached the school up north, and Jim Tressel coached the Buckeyes. I feel terrible for those guys. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. All right, you got some rule changes. MLB's got, we mentioned one without getting into it. Here you go. Active roster size will increase from 25 to 26. Are they throwing a bone to the Players Association here?
Yeah, I think it's kind of to balance out the 3-batter rule. They gave them, because MLB said, the players said they'd accept that 3-batter rule, but or they said they'd accept it, but in regards to they wouldn't file a grievance against it.
I see.
So I think that this was something to smooth the waters.
Even if you're adding the last guy on the roster to that extra spot, it's a minimum wage guy, right?
Right. Yeah.
What's minimum wage? $500,000?
Yeah, probably 500.
Right, so it's still costly to the owners.
Sure, and in the 26 guy, they'll probably cap the pitchers at 13. 13 per team. So that 26 guy is probably going to be a position guy.
Right.
And it could open up a lot of Rule 5 guys where you could draft a younger guy and just, put him on the bench and just leave him there.
Just let him hang around.
Yeah.
All right, in September, rosters will expand to 28 instead of 40. I've always thought that was a bad rule because some teams took advantage of 40 and others didn't add to it at all. So I always thought it would be nice if you could name a 25-man. You could have 40 guys, but you should name 25 active for that one game.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think they really will. I think they'll be able to bring guys up and switch them in and out. At least that's the impression I get.
I got it right then.
Yeah, I think
Or we both got it wrong. The pitcher's got to face at least 3 batters or pitch to the end of the half inning. That's Oliver Perez, for example. It would be he'd come in and face a lefty. Can't do that this year.
Right, and so that's really going to change kind of the compositions of bullpens and the way the manager manages.
So
to me,
you got to look more at your lineup to see who's coming up, and see if a guy who doesn't do well, a lefty who doesn't do well against a righty, you wouldn't want to use him at all. That'll change your strategy completely.
You might drive some guys out of the game. It's. It's kind of and this is obviously pace a game, driven,
right?
Speed the game up.
All right, the last one doesn't mean anything to the fans, I don't think, so that's just a procedural thing. Anything they should have had that they didn't put in?
Well, they were going to put in a pitch clock, but that has been. They have not. They've got it in the minors, but the pitch clock, 20 seconds to throw the pitch,
Isn't there a pitch clock like in the corner of the
but that's
scoreboard?
Between innings. That's But the pitch clock, it would regulate. You've got 20 seconds. The pitcher, from the time he steps on the rubber,
right?
That kind of thing. But Manfred said they wouldn't do that until perhaps after this basic agreement ends in 2021.
All right, when we get back, I want to talk a little bit about the cheaters. Excuse me, I'm sorry, the Houston Astros. Throw them out of the league for a year? What do you think?
Hey, they got caught.
They got caught.
That's the only mistake they made.
The problem was they weren't good at it.
That's right.
They were good at it for a lot of years, but eventually
they finally got caught.
Well, tell you what, 20 years for our friends at Northeast Factory Direct, and locations east-west to the south, and of course, northeastfactorydirect.com. No gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales, no typical retail nonsense. Just 3 huge bare bones and warehouses filled with some of the same stuff you're going to find at other stores, except you're going to pay half price for them. Save a lot of money. The way they do it is Alex has very little rent that he pays. He doesn't care what his place looks like as long as you come in. You're going to like what he's got on the floor at northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University in Hoynes. I liked it so much I went twice this week.
All right.
Had meetings, and we said near downtown, we said, where do you want to go? Where else would you want to go? Sokolowski's University Inn. Nothing better than that. Located in Tremont, established in 1923, makes that Cleveland's oldest family and family-owned and operated restaurant. Winner of the James Beard Foundation Award, the most prestigious award in the field of cooking and restauranting. Is that a word, restauranting? Probably not. Sokolowski's University Inn. We'll come back in a moment. We'll listen to some voicemails. We'll go over some other stuff when we get back. How come Quickies on its way? More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of November and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line. A long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
Let's take a look at this date in Les-Levine history. The 1959, the kids who lived on Wilmington Road in South Euclid had a touch football team. They wanted to play the street up north, Hoynesy, but nobody knew which way north was.
Hey, you're kids.
Yeah, that's
you're a Boy Scout with a compass. You need.
Today, you have something that'll get you wherever
right.
you need to go, no question about that. All right, we talked about the new rule changes. What we did not talk about is, the week in review. 1964, Hoynesy, Les and his Brush High backcourt teammates combined for 38 points in a win over Cleveland State. Dave Turk pumped in 27. Chuck Harding added 11. Do the math on that.
Yeah. 30.
I forget it was here the other night, but they said, oh, that was the night you had 38 assists. Yeah, that's it. November 19th, 2019, one of the South Euclid neighborhood guys bemoaned the fact that in the 60s, he was never invited to play at Chavez-Levine. In a Field of Dreams moment, plans are being made. We're going to have a wiffle ball game so that guy can play on the Levine lot. Isn't that nice of us?
I like it.
That guy's insane. He said in a nice way. We got what do we do? Oh, Houston. All right. What did they do? And why did they do it?
Well, I mean, they did it to win, and they just. I think some organizations and some teams can't help themselves, and it's not just Houston. It's not just relegated to one team.
But with trades, you can't get away with it. A guy gets traded and goes to another team, and they say, by the way, when I was at Houston, they used to bang the drum, and it was a fastball.
Yeah, I mean. And, I think it's one thing to steal signs when you're standing at second base and the catcher's a little...
That's cheating. That's part of the game.
Yeah, right. But when you have got a laptop in the runway and you've got a camera trained on the catcher and you're using a computer to decipher the catcher's signals...
All right. Well, the other one that I think is amazing because it involves Cleveland is that, and it's almost like listening to the presidential stuff, the fact that the front office guy was thinking that Cleveland was cheating, and they were just going to get some information on that and pass it on.
And then you know what happened since then?
What's that?
That
guy
he got
fired.
Yeah, well, the guy, some assistant GM sent a email out saying that to encourage the scouts to take pictures of the other players of the other team's dugout.
Yeah,
in the
there
dugout.
might be an angle you can get a better view on it. And he did it on an email.
Right. Yeah. And
that guy should be fired immediately, not for cheating, but for being stupid.
Yeah. And you know, Manfred, they don't mess around with this stuff.
All right, what can they do?
They're gonna. I would think they'll cost draft picks, they'll cost international signing bonus money, and somebody might get suspended or fired. You know, especially because he put rules in at the start of this season, and they were still cheating.
They waited 10 games.
Yeah.
You got a rant which you'll get to in the next and final segment. Okay, you can go 20 minutes if you want. No, not really. But anyway, voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you want to get involved in that, if you can't catch us during our show, which is 6 to 7 Eastern Time, 6 to 7 p.m. If you got an idea, you got a question, you got a comment, 216-200-6650. Call anytime, leave us a message on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. Open at noon every day for simulcast for racing all the great tracks all over the world from Northfield Park. And you've got live racing Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday starting at 6 p.m. with the post time, then 6:40 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday on the weekends. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. We come back with How Come Quickies and a Hoynes rant. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
We had a horrible storm that flooded our basement.
We had to take out that nasty moldy carpet.
And we never want to have to go through that again. That's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of November and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, you can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine with new content posted each and every day. All right, Hoynes, because of the holiday, it's going to be on a Thursday this year in November, believe it or not. So we got to move you up to Wednesday. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Do people need to know about this?
No, this is good.
You'll be on time?
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so too. You're worth waiting for. I can't say that about everybody. Can't say that about everybody. Okay, so next week's schedule: no show on Thursday or Friday, no live show. But Monday we'll have the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff. Tuesday, Bud Shaw. Then Hoynes will be here on Wednesday of next week. All right, Big Ed sends in you gotta grade these. Okay. Big Ed sends in two How Come Quickies. How come we drive more careful with food on the passenger seat than we do when somebody is sitting there? You know, when your kids were young, you'd put your brakes on and you put your hand out. Right. I still do that.
So do I.
Even if there's nobody in or there's an 83-year-old person in there.
That's right. You knock their glasses off. I get 4.3.
I got that quick one-step move there. And I said, wait a minute, nobody's in the car with me. How come SeaWorld has a seafood restaurant? That's That's nasty.
The 5.5. 5.5.
All right, Mr. Gullible comes in. He's got a daily double. How come when my wife said I'm addicted to skin lotion, I said, keep rubbing it in my face? You got to think sometimes.
The Russian judge gives a 3.5 on that.
How come a fake noodle is an impasta? Not bad.
Not bad. That's like a 7.5.
That's got to get in the upper regions. John Patrick says, you got to think about this one. Ready? How come the vegetarian was so hungry he could eat a horse radish?
8.2.
8.2.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a lenient grader. I wish I had you in school. All right, we've reached the magical moment of this time of the week, or whenever, anytime Hoynes is here, we get to the last few minutes of the show. I give you a Paul Hoynes rant. We got to work on it. You want a better introduction than that?
That's all I deserve, believe me.
Here's a man who needs an introduction.
Les, things aren't looking too good, Things, it snowed on Halloween. The wind is starting to blow. It's getting colder. I mean, take a look at baseball. Just the other day, Omar Vizquel gets fired by the White Sox. The White Sox fire him. He's trying to make the big leagues reach the big leagues as a manager. He's managed 2 years in the White Sox minor league system, and they're parting ways. I don't understand it. Then the White Sox today sign Yasiel Grandal, the catcher from Milwaukee. Think of that lineup now. Think of that. Grandal, who had a great year with the Brewers, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Jose Abreu. Those guys lost 89 games last year, but they went 11-8 against the Indians. So that doesn't bode well for 2020 in the Tribe. Then you look at Jake Odorizzi, for the Twins. He took the qualifying offer for the Twins. He went back. The Twins, their Achilles heel looked like it was going to be, they had four of the 5 starters going into free agency. But Odorizzi goes back, and he joins Jose Barrios as a two. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch in the rotation. So the Indians don't get a break that way either. Then today, John Sherman, minority owner. The minority owner are the Indians. He gets approved to buy the Royals for $1 billion, and Paul Dolan is looking for another minority owner again. So is that going to hurt the payroll? Then Francisco Lindor. Every day you hear a rumor he's going here, he's going there. It drives me crazy. I know it's the off season, but it just drives me crazy. And finally, the Astros. The Astros are, today the commissioner said that the investigation isn't just centered on 2017. It's going into 2018 and 2019. And the Indians would say. Because the Astros drove the Indians to distraction when they were getting ready for the 2018 ALDS, because they were so convinced they were getting their signs stolen that they changed them. Now, I'm not saying they lost because of that. The Astros were a better team. They swept them, but I think their heads are still spinning because of that. And then you look at the poor little Mahoning Valley Scrappers. The Mahoning Valley Scrappers. All of a sudden, MLB is talking about eliminating 40 of the 42 minor league teams throughout the country. And the Scrappers are one of them. What'd they ever do to anybody? They're a short season A-ball club. They start in June or July. The college kids, the high school kids go there. It's nice. And all of a sudden, the hammer's over their head. And then you think about football. Myles-Garrett, the fans are, he got suspended. Browns fans are upset. They're looking for, ulterior motives. They said he was, that he was egged on. Listen, guys. He ripped the helmet off a quarterback and hit him on the head with it. You can't do that. You just can't do that. He got suspended. He deserved to be suspended. Then, Demarius Randall, Browns defensive back, gets kicked out of the game because, he went for his helmet-to-helmet hit against a Steelers receiver. He says he's getting death threats on Twitter. He's getting a lot of heat on social media. Darius, get off social media. Just shut down your Twitter account. It's not worth it. Then we've got then you look at the Cavs. Look at the Cavs. Baker Mayfield. You look at Baker Mayfield. As soon, like 5 minutes after Thursday night's game was over, they had him on the air, and he was chastising his teammate myles-Garrett for doing what he did, and the next day, the next week, all we read about is this shows that Baker Mayfield is the undisputed leader in that clubhouse. Well, I've been in a lot of clubhouses, and I'm not so sure about that. If you call out one of your best defensive players and you rip them on national TV, we'll see how that goes. So that might work out around the corner. How we see that, and then we've got the Cavs. The Cavs, started out pretty good, winning 2 of their first 4 games. Everybody was thinking, hey, maybe they're not going to be as bad as you thought they were. Now they've lost 8 of their last 10. They can score. They can score, definitely. But it doesn't seem like they want to pass the ball or play defense. So I think this is going to be a long season. And finally, Les, I was reading a story. The other day. It said Cleveland is the 4th gloomiest and cloudiest city in the United States in the months of November, December, January, and February. And I'm sitting there thinking, they had to tell me this? They had to tell me this? Duh. They had to tell me this, that Cleveland is cloudy during the winter? I don't know what I'm going to do.
You're breathing a little heavy. Do you need me to call EMS? Just one phone call. They'll be here in minutes.
Yeah.
Cleveland's gloomy.
Thank you.
All right, Hoynesy, you are well worth waiting for. I can tell you that.
Oh.
All right. You need a vacation.
I need a vacation.
Wait a minute, we all
vacation.
do. All right, that'll do it. Hey, there's something to that John Sherman story that we didn't expect.
Yeah, that he was trying to buy the Indians. The people always kind of mention that, but I never, whenever I talked to Paul Dolan, he wanted to keep the team. He wanted to keep control of the team. When Sherman came in, they were able to sign Edwin Encarnacion.
Yeah. That's the way I thought it was going to go. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks to Paul Hoynes. I'll see you Monday. It'll be the D-Man, Dennis Maniloff, then Bud Shaw on Tuesday. Wednesday, Hoynesy will be back, and then Thursday, we hope you all have a great holiday. We'll see you on Monday. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.